In the beginning, we figured if we could get 25 people out here, we'd really have a good show. And it's after 4 years, this is what it's evolved to. Turn the mic up there, Matt. The guy that wants the mic turned up there, I want to introduce to you. Stand still, stand still. Take your cap off so we know who you are. Is Bill Bish. He is the director and producer of this show. He is. And name tag maker. And incidentally, I've been Bill's, it says here, right-hand man. I have some doubts about that, but anyway. So I'm going to turn this over to Bailey Cooksey, and he's going to do the presentation.
Well, it took him a while, but he finally got it right. I promise you I won't be up here more than an hour. But to start off with, before I forget it, this fourth annual Northwestern Pacific Picnic has been dedicated to the maintenance of way department of the NWP and all the units that work under and along with the maintenance of way. So let's have a big hand for the maintenance of way. Nature washed us out. I was foolish enough to go down and volunteer to work with the maintenance of way and the restoration program. And I got 6 months of real on-the-job training, and I have a real good grounded idea of what it takes to keep this railroad open. And I think that this is a proper and fitting thing to do, is to dedicate this to the maintenance of way of the Northwestern Pacific Railroad. And when we talked about this, we talked about how are we going to have, we finally settled on one person. The person that we finally singled out is somebody that we're probably going to be embarrassed, but somebody has to do it. And I think at this time I would like to have him come up here. Is George Jacinko here? We'd like to have George Jacinko up here.
Yeah.
I kind of picked his brain a little bit to kind of refresh of what we were going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So George is the retired section foreman at Dos Rios. His section ran from 190 1/4 to somewhere down there west of Dos Rios, maybe to Willits, I'm not sure.
No. One mile post 160?
160. But George was what you would call on the job 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. 365 days a year, yeah. Right.
Felt like it.
He felt like it, yeah. But I'm going to embarrass him a little bit and talk about George from what we know about him. And I'm sure all of you hogheads that are out here that finally made it down to George's roll-by at Dos Rios breathed a sigh of relief when we got a white light up on the hill from George saying, okay, the rest of the railroad is okay. But if anytime we went through George's section, if he was on the job and he had to stop you, he would be always first right up in the engine, and he would go over with the engineer the bad spots and how fast he wanted them to go, and make sure that they knew where the bad spots were, so they'd stay on the track at least till they got past his section. But this guy, I've been on the trains, both the head end and the caboose, and any time between dark or from daylight until maybe 1 or 2 o'clock a.m., when we went through Dos Rios, we'd blow a whistle, and we'd get a white light up on the hill if everything is all right. And I don't know when this guy slept. I really don't. Because I'm sure that he didn't rest until this train was by.
Yeah, until it got to Willits.
Until it got to Willits. He had an idea where everybody was, and we're going to be through there. But once we got to Dos Rios, and later on he became a track supervisor.
was foreman.
Foreman, yeah. And then later on when he retired, then George kind of picked up where his dad left off. And George was there when I left in '84. I suppose he was there until he got old enough to retire, right, George?
Yeah, they retired me. I
You
had
retired.
physical problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, in choosing George, we certainly don't want to slight anybody who worked on that track any time, and most of you, some of your entire railroad career. And we say a big thank you for keeping this thing open and keeping us out of the Eel River. It was a real job that you did, and it was a dedication that it took a special breed to do it. There were thousands of people come and went on that section, but there were just a small core that stayed and become the backbone and kept this thing going, believe me. So in conclusion, we wanted to do something, so Bill came up with a gift for George, and in the name of all your maintenance away, we'd like to give this to George as a kind of a token of what we have, appreciation of what he has done, and all of you guys have done to keep this railroad going all these years. This is the last steam engine that has been retained on the Northwestern Pacific, and it's the 112. It has a great history, and I think Bill has typed up a kind of a history of this engine too. You can visit it if you go to Sacramento to the old museum there. The old 112 will be there. And in 1950, the summer of 1950, I distinctly remember working this engine several times when we'd go over to Samoa to pick up probably not more than 10 or 12 loads, because this was just about the capacity for this little gal. It was just about maybe 3/4 size of a regular locomotive. And it was such a kind of like a little mascot more than anything else, but to be able to look back in our years and say, hey, I worked on this steam engine. So George, we'd like for you to have that, and as a remembrance. And
Gee, thank you. I sure appreciate this.
A big thanks to you and all of your maintenance away crews of what you have done during most of our lifetime to keep this road open.
I sure appreciate this. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the people that worked with me there at Dawes Rest that helped make this possible. One of them here today is Francis Crabtree, sitting right down there. I worked with Francis for probably 25 years, and he was a good worker, reliable, and believe it or not, I'm a hard person to work with. He never gave me one word of back talk or any problem in 25 years, and I can't think of another person that I know that I can say that about. And Claude Hoagland was another fellow that worked with me. And I'll be dreamed anything like this.
Well, I saw George admiring this here when he came up, but I said to myself, you know, we are really going to surprise him.
Yeah, well, you sure did.
Well, thanks,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody here.
We've thought about this for a couple of years of doing this, and I would like to do a memoriam for the people that was with us last year and the year before, not with us this year. And I would like for us to observe a moment of silence, and I'd like to read the names of those that's with us, not with us today. H.B. Highfowler, John Webb, Roy Deacon, and Harvey Duclaws. And I know that our prayers and thoughts will be with them. Thank you. This time I'd like to introduce some of our guests, and hopefully we can get them up here and they're going to say a few words to us. First of all, I'd like to introduce Dan Hauser. He's right over here. He's our assemblyman from the 1st District, and his wife, Donna.
Since I'm not running for re-election, I can make political speeches without fear of contradiction. It's really wonderful to see such a turnout today of former employees, retired employees of the NWP. What I'd like to bring to you more than anything else is just an update of where we are and what's going on with the rebuilding of the railroad that you kept together for so many years. As you probably know, it's finally back under single ownership. The NWP exists again, all the way from Shelville to Corblex, and we're working on rehabilitation of the line. We're having some problems right now with the federal government and their money coming through for some of the winterization that we'd hoped to get done this year, every year, but at least some of it. We're hoping to get some of the work done down in Dos Rios area, in Bell Springs, and even here at Fortuna at Boxcar Sink. But again, those have been delayed a little bit by the federal government, and we're trying to get it cleared up. We now own, of course, also the Annie and Mary, and we do have the money for rehabilitation of the Annie and Mary, so that we're going to be able to service all the way out to Simpson at Corbell. 2 of the trestles will be replaced, or at least rehabilitated, and the bridge over the Mad will be replaced as well. The rail will be brought up to standards, and hope to have that in full operation early next year. Beyond that, again, we've got the opportunity to make this rail line work for all of us, and it's going to take a lot more hard work, but I want to thank you personally for having kept it together for so many years, and assure you that we'll do our best to make sure the NWP is around for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Also, I have a helper this year, is Doe Turner out there. He's with the roving mic. So if you have something, if you got something to say, have you?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, in front of me here is 2 former train masters of the Northwestern Pacific Railroad. Here's, first of all, we have Jerry Faustine, who I drove for a long time. Lawrence DeBose, who we used to call Trigger. And I've always wanted to find out why he got the nickname Trigger. But at that particular time, I was a little brakeman, and I didn't want to ask you. However, we're both retired, and we'll let you explain to us why, because you don't know. Well, somebody just mentioned that Punchy Harris probably nicknamed that, and we who remember Punchy, he used to say, "You just don't get nicknames; you have to earn them." Yeah. So, Jerry, you have a few things to still follow the Giants, of course. Lawrence, do you have anything to?
Thank you. I certainly appreciate the opportunity you gave to come over and attend this get together and meet a lot of people I haven't seen for many, many years. It's been very enjoyable.
Okay, Don, I'll let you take over. I'll move on down. I'll give you the signal when I'm ready to go.
Okay. You're writing the book and said, now I'm going to cut you loose out here. Don't do anything with those engines that you shouldn't do, because it's all been done before and it won't work. So the next gentleman I'd like to introduce to you is Dr. David Lightfoot. He is the president of the NWP Historical Society, and we're going to invite him up here to say a few words. And if you want to come up, David. And not only that, but we're going to have some drawings today. We got some neat prizes we're going to hand out, and this was all donated through the Historical Society. They wanted to participate with us today, so the prizes were donated by them. David?
I think we're more of a hysterical society than a historical society, but anyway, first of all, I want to apologize for a few mistakes we've made here in the past. One was I misspelled Dan Hauser's name in the newsletter and made him more round, you know, rather than an A in his name. And then on we had volunteers help out. We were asked to help out on this celebration run. We had volunteers help out. And one of the volunteers was Earl Weiland. And Dad Bernard, when the newsletter came out, Earl Weiland's name wasn't there. I don't know where it went. I'm still looking for it. And then I just want to say that we are interested in publishing the oral histories, or at least collecting histories from all you people out here, and people who would want to take histories, you know, just get a tape recorder in front of your friend and talk to him. We've got the transcription equipment, and we actually have a volunteer transcriber. I put a gun to her head, and if we can just get some tapes in, we can start doing this. And we also, I got a promise from Fred Cadoni, who's our editor, a former NWP employee, who's here today. And we're going to put more North End stuff in, but we got to get it to put it in. But we want to do that too. But anyway, we're going to offer a special here today to anybody who wants to join the society. You get a newsletter every 2 months, and we have our magazine that comes out twice a year. And if you join today, we'll give you this year and next year. And we also have our calendar, our 97 calendar, which has several North End shots. Bob Moulton, who's here today, along with Ted Worm, worked on that. And that's also available back at our little table back there. But anyway, we're just happy that everybody could make it, and we were able to help out a little bit. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Doe?
When I started working for the NWP, Chip was my first conductor, and as I recall, I think at the end of the shift he said, "Son, you'll never make it. Go back to college, you'll never make it." Anyway, Gene Shipley.
Well, there's not much I can say after that. Very happy to be able to attend this function out here at Fortuna. It's my third attempt to get up here, and I finally made it. Good to see a lot of old friends. Very happy.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Bill is working to get our tickets out here. Bill, moving right along. We're going to have a drawing. We've got a lot of stuff to do and a lot of things. Laura? And we're going to get some people here to do some drawing. Put your name in the box. Pick a good one out of there. Yeah, put those down.
You just reach in there and grab it. And I'll get it in.
Patricia Fletcher. Come on down. You just hold that, Bill. Just give me enough. Just give me enough. Give me a good one. There we go. There we go. Another NWP. Linda Rossiter. This is for an NWP pen. Helen Trimmin.
Trim?
Trim.
Trim. Trim.
Trim.
Okay, don't read it. Okay. Oh, it fell out? Are you keeping the old one?
No, I'm giving them to him. I'm not keeping them. Jim Huffman.
Say, Don? Don?
Yes, sir. Where are you?
One of our guests is getting ready to leave, so I thought we'd railroad almost from the start when they started redoing the railroad in the early 50s. He was trying to leave, so that's why I figured I'd get a hold of him. Burl?
I want to thank being here today. I had 44 years, but not all of it here. They borrowed me to come over here and help put the railroad together in 1952, and I never went back. I enjoyed it so well I stayed. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Burl. Jack Lewis. I've been trying to find Jack. Is Jack around, or did he leave?
Back over in Great Salt Lake and learning how first.
Okay. Boarding. Tucson, Arizona. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you might. Your name's in there too. Your name's in there.
Jim Satko.
Jim isn't here.
Jim isn't here? Betty McDowell. Betty McDowell. Give me another one. Bill, hold up. We're gonna hold. You want to hold up on this for a little bit now, or you want to?
Yeah, okay.
Employees of ours. They both started working about the same time, and at that particular time, I think Fowler said,
The other way where I did a single fold,
gonna hire two young ladies, and you can about figure the way most of us felt, but we certainly we changed our mind awful quickly. They were both real good workers. Well, one of them was a good worker. Mary Ann and Meredith Lemfrey. Mary Ann.
Well, I'm real glad that my first railroad experience was here on the NWP because it's a real special and unique place, and it's been around in a few other divisions. So I just want to say thanks. It was a lot of fun. Everybody who helped me when I was brand new, and everybody was real kind, and thanks a lot. Taking a different way, but I won't. Some of these guys, they made it really hard for Marianne and I, but we got through it because we were taught, and they actually taught us stuff. We went on from the NWP to the main line and the SP and other places. I worked for a railroad.
Where are you, Joe? Has Gail left yet?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
What happened to that Jordan spreader?
What happened? Well, we put in the ditch a couple times. I don't know, I didn't like this Northwestern Pacific property for some reason.
Peavy. Is Jack here?
Okay.
Got some caps here we're going to give away. Sal Uribe. Come on down, Sal. Santa Rosa.
Yeah, let's see. We're going to some South End, so I never really got to know them. Lydia, who just one, and Annie Van Winkle, who I used to hear about her for years, being a real good office employee. So let's just see if we can get Annie to say a few little words here.
Little words? Annie Van Winkle never has a few little words.
Well, I made some kind of a remark last year. I had last year.
Oh, you just hold on there for me.
I had a wonderful
Laura.
But I made some kind of remark. Ladies didn't have anything to say, so I just want to tell about a couple things that happened that I came in the office and the clerks were all standing around. I didn't see anything wrong till I realized the burglar had blown the safe. We never kept any money in the safe. Money went to the bank. And this burglar was nice enough. He stole our blank checks, but he felt so bad he dropped them in a mailbox in front of the post office. And the post office returned him to us. We thought he was such a nice burglar. Then a week later, he broke into the Railway Express agency and the police caught him, and we were really sympathetic. And then I wanted to mention, this actually happened in Eureka, not in Santa Rosa, but rake work, which was usually done by people in the office, very often they were women. They always hated getting requests for rates on livestock because it was so hard to check. Well, one of the rate clerks in Eureka was requested for a rate on feeder hogs. It took her about 3 hours to work to find it. She finally called the customer back and she says, "I have your rate on feeder hogs." And the man said, "Feeder hogs? I wanted cedar logs."
Idaho. Go see Bill right there. Ready. Now for you people who are winning these prizes, it's a must. You got to come back for 5.
Before I left Tucson. He's not doing too well. He was going to see the surgeon yesterday, I guess it was, or the day before yesterday. They're probably going to have to take one of his legs due to his diabetic condition, but he wished he could be here and wanted me to say thank you to all the NWP people that he remembers. And if you would like his phone number, if anybody wants to call him, why, I have it. Just see me and I'll give it to you. Thank you.
Comes Rita. Rita, walking down that street, so smart, so sharp. You got some more of them, sweetheart? You got some more winning tickets there? Get me some more of them. Don't even... Take that over there and give it to him and get you some goodies. I know he can't make it, but you can. Boy.
And Tux also probably has a few stories to tell. So if you don't mention any story about me or Jonathan Webb or...
Well, the only one I can think of has to do with Mr. DeBose off the SP. He came over here and an engineer by the name of Abishan running number 3 one night. And he went down to Healdsburg and went into a truckload of logs and hit the engine over and messed things up pretty bad. So Ed Jemison and myself and Mr. DeBose went down there to help clean that mess up. So we got it all finished, and DeBose had his car, so Ed and I rode back to Willits with him. And there was a bar there in Healdsburg, kind of famous because it had a couple of deer horns that were locked together on display and one thing and another. So we had to go in and get a little something to drink because it was really hot out there where we were working. So DeBose, he got up to the bar first and then he got a beer. And we let them get that open and start drinking it. And Ed and I kind of looked at them crossways a little bit, and we each ordered a Coca-Cola. And Mr. DeBose suddenly reminded him of the Rule G. And he didn't have too much to say the rest of the way home.
Vern Haas, Ukiah, California. Let him wear that hat.
Yes, sir. You heard me. That says so.
Barbara Wilson.
Hey, she's in the red.
Hank needs a hat.
I can't get up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here comes Bounty.
Bill.
Logging Interpretive Association, known by most of you as the NCLIA. I just want to make a few comments about some of the highlights of what we've done recently. One of the highlights directly involves the Headlight newsletter, when the flyer regarding the Locomotive 29, the Pacific Lumber Company 29 fundraiser was enclosed with that headlight. We really got an outstanding response. We received checks that totaled almost $750 toward the restoration of that locomotive to be placed on the old main line of the NWP once it is back to its FRA certification. So that's one of the highlights. Then another point that I think you might be interested is that we acquired a lot of early day machine shop equipment from Louisiana Pacific, from the old Hammond Lumber Company machine shop, which is a building that I don't think is going to be standing much longer in Samoa. And amongst the equipment was a very large lathe that some of you that spent some time up here might remember. It's a lathe that is 34 feet between centers, and it's probably the largest metal lathe ever used up in Humboldt County. Did a lot of railroad work, a lot of sawmill work, and it's now property of the NCLIA, and we're working currently to build a structure to keep it and a large collection of other pieces of similar equipment out of the weather this winter. So as we speak, we have a Arcata and Mad River speeder operating down the Eel River on the old NWP line, and it's 1938, and it was restored through the good graces of Rogan Coombs, and it's taking fish and game divers down along the Eel for their fish count in various pools. So that'll give you a couple highlights of what the NCLIA is doing. Right now we have some of our volunteers over at the 100th Humboldt County Fair over in Ferndale. We have the 1892 Bear Harbor locomotive under steam, a steam donkey, and also other early day equipment, including tractor logging equipment. If you're up here for another day or two, be sure to take in the Centennial Fair at Ferndale. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you. I've been asked some questions about the NWP Historical Society, and people want to know what it costs, who you make the check out to, where you mail it to, so on and so forth. And Dr. David Lightfoot is over there and goes with him at the mic, and he's going to answer these questions.
Dr. David Lightfoot, he's president of the NWP Railroad Historical Society. So
you make it out to my retirement fund, so I can quit. But no, you make it out just to the society, NWP RRHS, and it's $30. That'll give you all of this year and all of next year. And we have forms over at our little table. And then we have a little bit of news. There is going to be passenger excursions October 5th and 6th and October 12th and 13th, running from Hillsburg to Willits and back each day. And Angelo Fagoni of the North Coast Railroad is the guy selling the tickets. And Art Lloyd, who used to work for the Western Pacific, is the passenger consultant for the NWP line. And then the rumor is that the Cal Western is going to be sold, the skunk line will be sold to some private investors. That's a rumor, it hasn't been confirmed yet. And then of course there is news that Cloverdale is getting a new rail station. They've actually broken ground for that. And the Santa Rosa Depot is being redone right now. They got the roof off and they're redoing that.
Okay, thank you, David. Bring one of you over to the museum. You want to go over and see that. And they're looking forward to dishing up some ice cream for us. It's their compliments over there. So, and I want to see each and every one of you out here. If you run across any NWP employees or rail buffs or anyone who'd like to attend this picnic, have them get a hold of us, or you can always drop a line to Bill and get them signed up for this. We had this year we had 206, as I said before, and that's about 30 more than we had last year. And I think the word's going around that we're having a good time out here. And so, with that, I will bid you all farewell till next year, and let's everybody drive careful. Bye-bye.